Is on how to attract talent to your employment brand. And we're going to be talking about leveraging multiple tools globally to be able to attract people in to not only your job openings, but most importantly, your company and your company culture. So this is today's agenda. We're going to be talking about what exactly is an employment brand, what's your employer value proposition, so what are you essentially selling to candidates, and what would job seekers want to gain from that information, and then how can you leverage it? How can you leverage it to promote yourself? And we're going to provide some real world examples as well as some real world examples of results, most importantly. So I know a lot of times when we're thinking about digital content, you're not necessarily able to drill down into deep analytics. And one of the takeaways from today's session is definitely going to be on how you can dive in and get some really great usable data as well. So let's talk first fundamentally about what is your employment brand. And I know a lot of organizations that we work with here at DigiMe are trying to figure out or differentiate their employment brand from their overarching brand that marketing and communications help them to develop and oversee. So, and a lot of times the messaging can be consistent, but ultimately you do need a little bit different of a lens for your employment brand than your company brand, because not only are you reaching potentially customers, the people you're recruiting definitely could be potential customers to your organization, and you certainly need to treat them through that lens. But in addition to that, you need to be able to speak to them in the language that they're wanting to hear from you and reach them in the ways that they want to be reached. So the sites and the social and the group and the manners that they want to be interacted with. And I think we've all learned over the last few years with the shift in it very much becoming more of an employee or job seeker centered market that reaching people the same way that we used to just doesn't work anymore. So we have to come up with new innovative ways to share, tell, and promote our story. And the employment brand can be the centerpiece of that, with your jobs and content around the why of why they should consider your organization, supporting your employment brand, and them all working in tandem with each other. So fundamentally coming up with what does that story look like, what differentiates you as an organization, and then using that as your foundational tool for all of your messaging in relationship to your job descriptions. I know a lot of the organizations that we work with here at DigiMe, they want consistency in candidate experience. And I know this is something HR professionals across the globe have talked about for years now. I think that bar has just raised even further with, kind of quote unquote post-COVID, all the developments and the way that people are interacting with jobs, and also what they're willing to entertain from a job perspective. Working remotely enters into the picture as well, but you have to be able to kind of sell your story to them before you can think about convincing them to apply for your organization or ultimately show up on day one of work. So the employer branding piece and how you're communicating it is what's going to really differentiate you, and it helps you sell your story and differentiate yourself from your competitors, whether that's that, maybe you're a smaller mid-market company that is more nimble and you're able to help give people unique opportunities, tools, and growth in a way that larger organizations maybe can't. Or maybe you're able to help people scale within the organization really quick because you are a large brand. Whatever is unique to your company and your company culture, this is really an opportunity for you to showcase it. And I would say, even one thing that I feel like we've all learned in the last few years is everything matters. And the details that we might not have previously shown in our employment brand messaging are important to the job seeker. They want to really see, touch, and feel what the culture is going to be like. So ultimately, to be able to differentiate yourself, showing things like if it is a super fun culture and you've got like innovative games as part of your company environment, or it's, you always do like bring your pet to work opportunities, different things like that that really showcase authentically who you are as an employer brand. We're not talking about what your website says or, kind of what a piece of paper would be about your organization. We're really thinking about kind of showing behind the curtain what the company's like. And ultimately, that's going to help you attract the best people for you to retain too. So if you're authentic in your messaging and how you show yourself, it's going to make sure that you're kind of marrying up and reaching the people that would work the best in your company culture. So the more authentic you can be in your messaging, the better to be able to attract the right people for your brand. And when we think about your employer value proposition, your EVP, this is a portion of your overarching employment brand. And it really is like the highlights of engagement that will help you attract the right hires that you're able to retain in the organization. And this can be a thread that's exists throughout your messaging. So whether you're talking about like overall arching company culture and doing a video about that. So a lot of our clients have had lots of success in communicating who they are globally as a culture. And that could have a lot of different elements to it. So your presence in one country could be very, very different culturally than your presence as an organization in another country, or even like within the US, for example, what your corporate headquarters feels like for an employee versus what your field or manufacturing plants feel like for an employee can be very, very different work environments. So it works really well to get specific. So having overarching messaging that kind of encompasses all the elements of the company and your culture, and then breaking it down and having subsidiary content. Video content is easy to digest, and I'll talk about the value of that in a minute and give you some great data points around that. But having content and messaging that is going to be relevant to the actual work environment they're going to be in too. And those elements can be really critical to selling the job. So when you're thinking about your EVP, like that's going to be a thread that exists within your messaging for your employment brand, but also for at the job level as well. And then we help organizations to be able to communicate not just their culture, their job opportunities, but also what the onboarding steps look like, which can be really important to preventing ghosting and keeping people engaged throughout the pipeline of talent. So this is, I know, something that's super top of mind with organizations and has been for at least the last 2 years. It's something that we work with not only our enterprise clients on, but we partner pretty extensively with staffing organizations and outsourcers in the recruitment space as well. And this is something that's really important to them too, just making sure that you're clearly communicating what the steps are going to look like post application so that you keep them warm. You've done all that work to pull them in to your brand. Now you want to keep them engaged and make sure that you get them all the way through the funnel. So that common thread of your EVP messaging is central to that. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how and why video can be such a compelling way to communicate the messaging that we've talked about. So as I mentioned, I think organizations that are really strategically sharing messaging have a couple key elements in place. They're communicating their overall employment brand, they're communicating sub areas of their brand, whether it's, field versus corporate, or by location, for example, if they're very, very different cultures. And then they're communicating at a job level. And so all those types of, content can easily be communicated in video and also understood in video. So couple really powerful facts about video. I'm going to dive into all the different ways that it can help you just getting your employment brand out there, which is a huge competitive advantage. But in addition, how it helps you make sure that you're reaching the right people for your company. So number one, you can communicate so much more content through a minute of video versus text. So with over 1.8 million words being able to be communicated in 1 minute of video, it is absolutely perfect and ideal in today's world of people wanting short, digestible bits of content. It works completely perfectly with social, and it works perfectly with mobile, which is the way most job seekers are doing their job searches now. If you look at the data behind it, most people are actually actively looking for work while they're at work. So in order to be discreet about it, they're doing it from their cell phones, and they're already on social media. So you want to be able to reach them in a way that there are, where they're already going, versus trying to force change behavior, like I mentioned at the beginning. So by communicating in video, you also have the opportunity, even at the job level, to communicate your company culture. So for our clients, for example, we'll do a 45 to a 60-second video job ad that communicates their critical role, but it also allows them to put at the front end of the video and the closing of the video important information about the company culture, their mission, anything that's central to the organization. And then we always co-link the video job with their company branding messaging, so that more overarching employment brand. And for example, if the job opening is more related to like a specific location or a nuanced audience that they're trying to reach, we will link it to those types of messages as well. So the candidate's getting kind of a 1-2 punch of information to help them do the best job of self-selecting in or out based on fit. And you can see a couple elements, at least for our clients. They've got the apply button, which links back to their existing software, typically their applicant tracking system, so they can actually track the candidates all the way through. And then the social share, which is allowing the candidates to push the messaging for them. So I'm going to dive into SEO and the additional reach that you can get through search engine optimization in a couple minutes. But the organic nature of letting candidates push your content out for you is such an amazing validator of your employment brand and your job messaging. So we typically see about 60% of applicants coming through organic, candidate-driven social sharing, and about 70% of our client video views coming through that organic piece. So it is really taking advantage of people's willingness to share your messaging out to their networks through data, through search engine optimization. You're able to capture those candidates and reach them for immediate job openings, but also potentially for talent pipelining as well. So I'll play a quick snippet of a client video job ad for you, just so you can see what can be communicated.
At WellBe Health, we make the impossible possible for underserved seniors. We do this through utilizing and developing cutting-edge healthcare and well-being service products, especially for seniors and their families. Now is your chance to join our talented team that delivers unparalleled creative healthcare, insurance, social support, and more to seniors. Reporting to the home care supervisor, the home care assistant will provide safe delivery of personal care services to WellBe Health participants in their homes as scheduled and directed. You will assist participants with instrumental activities of daily living, including but not limited to laundry, light housekeeping, shopping, etc. You will measure and document participants' vital signs as instructed. You will assist with light meal preparation and feeding in participants' homes, ensuring participants are nourished and hydrated. Is this the opportunity for you? Apply today. Now,
So that gives you a good idea on the job level. And just to dive a little bit deeper into the benefits. So, first and foremost, having organically shareable video is going to help you enormously from a Google results perspective. So, no matter what size your organization is, this can be a benefit. And I can give you so many great examples of companies of all different sizes that have benefited from adding video to their employment branding strategy to help raise their SEO. From organizations the size globally of FedEx Corporation to small and mid market sized companies, we've been able to help organizations increase their lift and reach on SEO for a Google search with keywords and their employment brand in general. Even if your company is highly Googleable, that doesn't mean your careers page is. So you want to make sure that your jobs are as well, not just your brand itself. And that's going to help you not only reach candidates that are typing in relevant keywords specific to your jobs faster, it is also going to help you rise above competitive sourcing sites. So for example, if your objective is to pull people more into your careers page, your brand, your story versus, like an Indeed or a Career Builder or any other type of job board, if you, instead of sending that traffic externally, if your objective is to pull them internally, which has a host of benefits for your organization, starting with the fact that it's a great way to be able to pipeline for talent, it is allowing you to show them and tell them your entire brand story. So you could pull them into a landing page, for example, that's got a video about your employment brand, your company culture, the nuances of a specific culture related to their work environment, and then ultimately a video job ad about the position opening that you're recruiting for, or position openings, depending on, how specific and niche you want to be and what you're highlighting. But all that is going to help you pull in candidate traffic to your careers page. And just out of the gate, you're going to get 53 times higher search engine optimization if you're embedding video into your careers page. And if it's socially shareable, mobilely enabled video traffic, it goes even higher. The more candidates are sharing the videos organically, like our clients are seeing, the higher that number is going to go. So, for example, we had a client who increased the number of videos with us. They started out with about 25 videos with us initially and grew to several thousand globally across their positions. And their overall SEO lift was 180% increase in search engine optimization traffic. So that's power. That's bringing people into their brand, their jobs, and it led to enormous conversion rates from people viewing their jobs to actually applying and getting hired for their position too. They've commonly hit rates of 20 to 40% conversion. And for those of you who know the rates that are typical off of a text job posting, they're typically anywhere from 2 to 7%. So absolutely phenomenal power that they were able to pull in and create through their careers site. And now, they've got the ability to serve those people, that audience they've been able to capture, really relevant content that's going to help them progress through the funnel. And the more candidates are sharing the videos, the higher your application rates will go from social sharing, and the faster your fill times will be. So the search engine optimization aspect of video cannot really be understated, especially when you look at it in conjunction with the social sharing aspect. And the two do work really, really hand in hand, because the more candidates are sharing your videos out to like a Facebook group or a LinkedIn discussion group, or through Twitter, the higher your SEO is going to continue to go. and it acts as a great third-party validator of your brand and your brand story. So we make sure that all of the video content that we help our clients build is socially shareable, so that's helping you maximize your reach to new candidate pools, especially for volume roles and difficult to fill positions. You're always wanting to reach new talent pools, and you can do it very dynamically through SEO and through social sharing. We also work really closely with clients on maximizing the sites and the strategies that they have in place now. So we always take a look at what they're doing to promote their position openings and their company culture currently, and making sure that the videos are embedded within those environments. So your career site, as I mentioned, is such an excellent place to pull people into. We always start with, recommending to organizations, do a Google search of your jobs and your brand and see how you're ranking, see how you're showing up against potential competitors. And maybe organizations are competitors from an employment perspective that you didn't even realize. So that can be a really great education. We also recommend taking a look at your socials, and if there's an opportunity to have specific socials for your careers site, that is excellent. If not, or just don't worry about that. I would say a lot of organizations that we work with, and at least initially, are not using social directly to recruit, but they're using the organic data from the candidate sharing to help them understand where they should be socially sharing. And then at that point, they'll have their recruiters start to leverage, different social sites based on what the data is showing them. Another great way to promote your employment brand, especially through video, is to embed video into your LinkedIn company page, as well as have at least your recruiters embed video into their LinkedIn profile pages. Being able to have video content specific to an employee referral program is great too. We have clients who have like internal intranets, for example, and will create specific versions of their video job ads just for them to be able to get referral traffic, which, similar to the social sharing, is just such a great kind of higher level of validated content and sharing. So if it's coming from people that they know, like, and trust, you're going to see much higher conversion rate off of those as well. And the videos are just so easy for employees to share that they will definitely do it. We've seen some pretty awesome results with clients leveraging video for employee referral programs where they do tracked competitions between the employees with some nice fun incentives. And it's so easy for the employees to share a short video. So it's allowing them to get the traffic and get the candidates converting through the pipeline without much lift on the employee's part, which then gets them excited to share it more. Also, any events and talent communities. So events is a really great one. So thinking about, if you're communicating your employment brand in video, having it linked to like a QR code or even a text code. We have a lot of organizations that will use QR codes to communicate their brand messaging and their job level messaging. So if they're going to like a careers fair or just even representing at like a conference or event, having a little sign that you're hiring and having a screen with a QR code linked to the video is awesome, because the candidates can literally leave there, or any prospective candidates, or even your buyer audience that might share your job messaging with their network, can leave there from the event and have your employment brand and your jobs, your video jobs, right on their cell phone. So it is a really, really great way to take advantage of any place you might be. We've had organizations that at their facilities, for example, have television screens commonly playing, different things for their employment brand, and then they'll feature the QR code again, so that anybody touring the facility or visiting the facility, can easily view and apply for their positions as well. And then certainly talent communities are a great one. So as I mentioned, embedding content into a landing page so that you're pipelining for talent is a really great strategy as well. So being strategic when you're building the content, there's so many different ways to use it, especially if it is trackable video. So you can leverage it throughout your strategy with a very low lift. If you're partnering with the right solution, it's very easy to copy and paste the videos into all these different environments and then ultimately have tracking to understand where you're getting the results from as well. So another initiative that we've seen a lot of organizations build great content around from an employment brand perspective is their diversity and inclusion initiatives. And this can be a great way to communicate at the job level as well as your brand and who you are as a company. It is very easy to show and tell who you are and your inclusivity through a video versus text. It's much more difficult to communicate that message on paper than it is through a short digestible video. We actually have seen just phenomenal results. So I mentioned about 60% apply rates off of our standard client video job ad. But when we're communicating bilingually or even in other languages, the social share rates actually go even higher. And if you're intentional about who you want to reach, maybe you clearly know you've got a gap. Like we worked with one organization that was looking to attract and retain more female engineers to their organization. And through the video job ads, they were able to showcase the female engineers that they had on staff at the time. And then those individuals helped share the messaging out, but they also went viral through social. And these videos were able to help them recruit and fill positions that they had anticipated would take at least 6 months to fill. And they were able to fill them in half that time and reach the types of people that they wanted to help them with their diversity initiative. So just an example, it can be a super powerful way to attract and retain specific pockets of talent that you're trying to reach as well. So I want to play this example of a client who has worked with us specifically on their DE&I initiatives, and it's really carried through in all their video content, but this is one of their employment brand videos.
Join the Masonite team to become part of our vision, to be the best provider of building products in the eyes of our customers, employees, shareholders, suppliers, and communities. At Masonite, we build doors, but in reality, we help people walk through walls. Based in Tampa, Florida, Masonite is a global enterprise of over 70 locations, nearly 10,000 employees, and 3 different continents. Join Masonite. Apply now.
And we are actually rolling out to our clients a mini EVPT, which is basically, so typically the employment brand, and that was a portion of it. Employment brand videos are typically about 1.5 to 2 minutes. The reason we suggest that is based on the data. So when you take a look at the stats, candidates will stay on an employment brand video longer than they will a job specific ad. So typically on a job specific ad, you're keeping them engaged for about 57 to 59 seconds. So that's why having a 1-minute video job ad is kind of the sweet spot that we recommend for clients. But on a company cultural video or employment branding video, you're able to keep them engaged for longer. They'll stay for up to 2 minutes typically off of that. But we just helped our clients with a new video that's called a mini EVP that lets them use a short version, a sneak peek, if you will, of their employment brands throughout the recruiting process. It can be even a great tool for onboarding, but they're like 30 to 45 seconds. So half the amount of time or less as your typical employment brand video, but a great way to drive engagement. Another really important piece of driving engagement and just having consistency in brand messaging to prospective employees is communicating your application process and what to expect next. So, for those of you familiar with ghosting and the challenges it presents, one of the number one reasons why people ghost is they have no idea how long it's going to take to hear from you. They might have unrealistic expectations of how long it's going to take to hear from an employer. So, setting those expectations on the front end really can help alleviate a lot of that ghosting. And we've actually seen organizations proactively include anti-ghosting messaging throughout the recruitment funnel. So even at the front end of the funnel, communicating expectations even prior to them applying for a job. It's always better to have more information than less. So we've seen this be a really great piece to integrate. It doesn't have to be long. One of the most powerful ways to use it is to have it be part of your auto response messaging back from your ATS post application. So they're automatically getting this message to let them know the timing, the flow, what's going to happen next, to help address a lot of those questions before they even pop into their mind. So I'll play a quick sample of part of a client candidate expectation video just so you get an idea of what you could do from a communication perspective. Again, once you have these elements in place, it's all turnkey. Like once the videos are built, which can be super fast. So typically our clients are building video libraries in a week to 2 weeks at the most. But once you have these core pieces in place, it's all super turnkey and automatic. This is an example of a candidate expectation or anti-ghosting video.
Conduent delivers mission-critical services and solutions on behalf of businesses and governments, creating exceptional outcomes for our clients and millions of people who count on them. It's why a majority of Fortune 100 companies and over 500 governments depend on us when it matters most. We appreciate your interest in becoming a part of the Conduent team. Now that you've applied, we want you to know what to expect.
So it's obviously a teaser, but giving them the details around what to expect and keeping that consistency in your messaging. So the overarching theme for today is really making sure that you're pulling through elements of your EVP, whether it's you're talking about your like big picture employment brand, whether you're breaking it down to location or environment. And I would encourage you to, if there's aspects of your environment that are challenging, like they have to be in a super hot work environment, or they have to lift a certain amount of weight, or they have to be in a loud work environment, whatever that might be, you're better off to communicate it at the front end. And certainly being able to show it is a great way to be able to tell it if there's specific nuances, and it's just going to prevent you from having higher turnover at the end of the day anyways. So it really is great to be able to communicate that early on and set those expectations early on. And just having consistency of messaging. So we have seen a lot of success in companies just organically growing and expanding the content that they're using to reach their candidates, and then pulling that through and using it for new hires as well, doing great things around like content and messaging for like welcoming videos, training videos, different messaging from key leaders in the organization, just again for consistency of messaging, and so that people feel like, once they're part of the organization, it is the same place that they were kind of sold at the beginning. So just having that consistency throughout your messaging and the way you're presenting the messaging can be really, really helpful for retaining and growing your talent as well. I will stop my sharing, and any questions that might have come through on the chat.
Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, Miss Lindsay. I just wanted to clarify if you can hear me, or is there somebody clear hear me okay?
If anybody wants to pop in any questions.
Okay, so if there is any questions from you that you wanted to ask for Miss
I'm
Lindsay.
sorry, I don't know if it's just me, but Lady Ann, I still can't hear you.
Okay. So, is there anyone who wanted to ask some question for Miss Lindsay? So I have a question here from Dr. Anna Carter. Hiring remotely. So let me
The
just
question about hiring remotely, that's a really great
remotely to
one.
you.
Um, so I think for me, and we are actually totally remote as an organization, and I know the benefits and the challenges that that can present. I would say that I think having constant communication and a streamlined way of communicating information to employees can really help you. One thing that I've implemented is like when we're having company meetings and even working with clients, like make sure you're engaged and like have video on, for example, and just having more higher frequency of touch points, I think is really important for if you have all remote people. The other thing I would mention is that's related to hiring remote that we've seen through the data. Even if you're hiring remotely and it doesn't matter to you per se what market the people are located in, it is really important to pick a couple key markets to promote your openings, because the so many of the elements that I talked about today with like the search engine optimization, the social sharing, are definitely market specific. So it will help you reach people to have just picking a few key markets and highlight them. You could do like a national or a global opening, but I would suggest also duplicating it and running it in a few key markets too, because you'll see, we always see the market specific ads outperforming the more, like general national or global positions, which is interesting, right? You would think it would be the opposite, but just with the search engine optimization and the specific reach that candidates want to see, and like the fact that they want to understand that you're actually hiring for the position in your market. Plus, there's been so much conversation lately, as I'm sure you've seen, around spam job openings, and having location specific ads can really help. Video in general helps with this, but can really help the job seeker understand that it's a legitimate job that you're hiring for in, the location, even if you don't mind where they're actually physically based. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you so much for answering this question. Is there anyone who wanted to ask a question about our topic? Okay, so before we proceed, if there's anyone who wanted to ask some question, you can definitely leave your question to the Q&A box or here on the chat box. I just wanted to inform you guys for I'll just a quick announcement. Before we conclude, I'd like to share a few important announcement with you all that that today's session has been recorded and will be accessible on the ITC YouTube channel. And remember that today's webinar attendance qualifies you for a free membership if you are not yet a member of the ITC. And please keep an eye on your email for your certificate of participation. So let me check if there's any question from you. Okay, so you already check the Q&A box and the chat box as well. There is no other follow-up or another question for it. So do you have any final thoughts that you wanted to share before we wrap up, Miss Lindsay?
Unfortunately, I still wasn't able to hear what Lady Ann said, but I appreciate everybody's time, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions that pop up post webinar. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn, and I'm sure my contact information will be shared as well. So thank you so much for everybody that attended.
Okay, okay, so as we come to the end for today's session, I'd like to thank you or thank Miss Lindsay. I'm sorry for the technical issue, guys, for her expertise and insights. Remember, attracting talent to your employment brand is crucial in today's competitive market. Take that lessons learned today and apply them for your strategically to strengthen your employer brand and attract top talent to your organization. So, to all our attendees, thank you for your active participation. Don't forget to check your email for your participation certificate. We look forward to seeing you all in our future webinars. Until then, stay informed, stay connected, and keep thriving in your endeavors. Goodbye for now.